Hey friends, it's Utashio here, or Steven, depending on your pronunciation, and this is my complete guide video on the True Crown item in Spelunky 2. In this video, I will be explaining what the True Crown item does, how to get the True Crown, and some other tidbits and important pieces of information regarding the True Crown. This guide is all-encompassing, so see the description for timestamps if you're only looking for certain pieces of information. The True Crown is a brand new item introduced in Spelunky 2 that completely redefines the experience of a typical run once acquired. The True Crown is a yellow and red jester hat that is given to the player by an NPC character named Beg after they complete a specific series of steps. The True Crown is an accessory item that is collected and does not need to be worn on the player's back like a jetpack or carried around like certain tools and weapons. Much like collecting a compass or spiked boots, for example, the True Crown's effects are permanent for the remainder of the run. The most notable function of the True Crown is its ability to teleport the player. The True Crown teleport functions in exactly the same way as a held teleporter or even a telepack, but instead of the player controlling when they teleport with a controller or keyboard input, the True Crown automatically teleports the player every 22 seconds from the moment it is first acquired. For example, if the player were to acquire the True Crown at exactly 5 minutes, they would be forcibly teleported at 5 minutes and 22 seconds, then again at 5 minutes and 44 seconds, then again at 6 minutes and 6 seconds, and so on every 22 seconds until the run ends either by victory or more likely by being teleported hilariously into a wall and dying in typical Spelunky fashion. It's important to note that the player can choose which direction the True Crown will teleport them by holding that direction when the teleport happens. Something extremely convenient to also mention is that a new timer actually appears on the player's HUD right next to the original one once the True Crown is picked up. This will help you to easily keep track of the 22-second teleport intervals. The next important feature of the True Crown is that every single time it teleports the player, they will be given 22 bombs, which makes it extremely quick and easy to accumulate very large quantities of bombs, maxing out at 99. This is a highly valuable trade-off due to how amazing bombs are, and this is the main reason why you might consider picking up the True Crown in your run, knowing that it is a very high-risk, high-reward item. This mechanic can be used extremely effectively as long as the player takes caution to position themselves in a safe spot when they know that the teleport is coming, and then using all the bombs that they have to clear any dangerous enemies or to drill straight through entire levels. Even though the forced teleport and bombs are the most significant features of the True Crown, this item also has one more notable effect. Having the True Crown will double the prices of all items sold in standard shops, and will override and effectively erase any other helpful discounts the player has acquired. If you are unfamiliar with the various shop discounts that can be acquired in Spelunky 2, I am working on another video breaking them down, and I'll provide a link on screen when it's done. In order to get the True Crown, the player will need to complete the NPC Beg's quest line, which will involve finding 3 Kali altars in a single run. In some of my other guide videos, most notably my Cursed Status Guide, as well as my Kali Altar Guide, I briefly discussed the True Crown, and I mentioned that 4 altars are required to get the item. I want to clarify now, in this video, that the 4 altar method I mentioned in my other videos works, but should only be a last resort, and that ideally, only 3 altars are actually required. Here is the step-by-step breakdown. Step 1. Find and destroy the first Kali altar that you can, and then proceed through the game. Destroying the altar will have negative effects with Kali, and will most likely summon a large group of enemies to ambush the player, since they will not have had the ability to build favor with Kali yet. For a more complete explanation of Kali altars and how favor mechanics work, if you are unfamiliar, see my Kali altar guide linked on screen. Step 2. Find the second Kali altar generated in your run. Destroying the first altar in step 1 will cause an NPC named Beg to appear standing on top of the second altar. Beg will share a brief dialogue with the player, give them a bomb bag, and then disappear. It is not required to destroy this altar, and the player may use it freely before continuing on. It is important to note that the player must find this second altar, however, otherwise they will ruin the True Crown run. If the second altar spawns on a level and the player does not find it or is unable to get to it and moves on to another floor, this will break the quest line and the True Crown will not be obtainable. Step 3. The player must now become cursed. If the player has completed steps 1 and 2 and therefore spoken to Beg, he will appear for the player a second time on another altar if they start that level cursed. Obviously, the quickest this can be done is the third altar in any run. This is where Beg finally gifts the player the True Crown item. If you are unaware of how to curse yourself for this final step, I will link my complete curse guide video on screen, but I will also briefly mention the available methods now. Getting struck by a cursed pot, getting struck by the floating skull of the witch doctor enemy, getting hit by the mummy cat enemy, or finally, destroying 3 Kali altars are all ways that the player can curse themselves. It is important to note that the player only needs to be cursed when they first enter the level that spawns the third altar. In this footage, you can see that I spawn into the level and die immediately, reviving myself with the Ankh, which cures my curse. Later, on that same floor, when I find Beg, he is still there and he still gifts me the True Crown, even though I am no longer cursed, because I was cursed when I first entered this level where the altar spawned. Before the end of the video, I wanted to quickly cover some last pieces of valuable information. The first thing I wanted to talk about is how teleporting is actually calculated in Spelunky 2 to better help you prepare for a successful True Crown run. These teleporting mechanics are true for all the teleporting items. When teleporting horizontally or upwards, the game will randomly select between 4 to 8 blocks to teleport the player. If there is no safe location in this 4 to 8 block range, the game will look for any safe space between 1 and 3 additional blocks above the first check and place the player there instead. If there is no safe space after both checks, the player will be teleported into a wall, resulting in instant death. The same general rule applies for teleporting downwards, with the only difference being the first check is a random distance between 5 to 9 blocks instead of 4 to 8. It has also been recently discovered that having a 4-leaf clover item causes any teleport to always travel the maximum distance of 8 blocks horizontally and upwards, or 9 blocks if going downwards. Something important to add to this extra section is that despite this item sharing a similar name to the actual crown item acquired in Dracula's castle, the True Crown cannot replace the functionality of the crown or Hedjet items. Having only the True Crown will not allow the player to wield Excalibur in Title Pool Floor 4-2, and it will not allow the player to enter the City of Gold in the Temple of Anubis on Floor 4-2. The True Crown, along with the Teleporter and Telepack items, can be used to perform some pretty interesting skips, allowing the player to make it to secret areas that would otherwise have required specific items and quest completions. I will not be covering skips in this video, but I may address them in a future video specifically dedicated to those skips. The last thing I want to mention isn't about the True Crown, but is actually about Beg. Should the player not want the True Crown, they can still acquire a free teleporter after destroying only 1 altar by killing Beg at the second altar before he gives you the bomb bag and poofs away. Thanks for watching. That was my complete guide on the True Crown in Spelunky 2. If you found the video helpful and informative, please hit that like button and don't forget to share with other people who might be looking for the same information. I'm going to be releasing many Spelunky videos breaking down as many important and useful topics as I can think of. So if you find my content enjoyable and informative, be sure to subscribe. Alright, bye-bye.